Have you ever felt that the events unfolding on the global stage are not random? What if the chaos is manufactured by a group of people you have never heard of? A hidden hand pulling the strings of society from behind a veil of secrecy. A small, elite group of interlinked families have for centuries been playing a long game. They move presidents and prime ministers like chess pieces on a board. They control the flow of money, the flow of information, and ultimately the flow of your life. Your reality is carefully constructed to keep you distracted, divided, and powerless. You can see their symbols on your money. They are the architects of your world. These are the bloodlines. They are the true rulers of our planet. We will pull back the curtain, waiting for those with eyes to see. How do they maintain control? It is a question that reveals the sheer genius of their design. It is not through brute force alone. It is through a complex, interconnected web of influence. They built the system from the ground up. They founded the central banks, giving them control over the creation of money itself. The Federal Reserve, the Bank of England, the European Central Bank. These are not government institutions. They are private corporations owned by these very families, designed to indebt nations and siphon wealth from the people. They decide when booms happen and when busts occur, all to their benefit. Their reach extends far beyond finance. They control the media you consume. The 6 major media corporations that own 90% of what you read, watch, and hear can all be traced back to their influence. They shape the narrative. They decide what is news and what is conspiracy. They create the celebrities you admire and the politicians you despise, all to keep you locked in a cycle of distraction and division. They want you fighting with your neighbor over left versus right, so you never look up and see who is truly pulling the strings from above. This is the art of perception management on a global scale. Their control is solidified through secret societies and exclusive global forums. Groups like the Bilderberg Group, the Trilateral Commission, and the Council on Foreign Relations. You are told these are simple think tanks or networking events. This is a lie. These are the meetings where the global agenda is set, where kings and queens, banking titans, corporate CEOs, and top politicians gather in secret to receive their marching orders. They coordinate their plans for the year ahead, far from the prying eyes of the public they claim to serve. It's a global government for the elite, by the elite. This is not a coincidence. It is not an accident that the same names, the same families, and the same corporations appear time and time again at the apex of power. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Morgans. These are not just wealthy families, they are dynasties. Their bloodlines are intertwined through strategic marriages. Their goals aligned through a shared vision of a new world order. In this series, we will unravel this web, thread by thread. We will follow the money, connect the dots, and expose the bloodlines that secretly control the world. The journey begins now. Our story begins in the cramped lanes of the Jewish ghetto in Frankfurt, Germany. Here, Meyer Amschel Rothschild, a dealer in rare coins, laid the foundation for the wealthiest family in history. He understood true power came from controlling money. From his counting house marked by a red shield, he built his network. He became the financial agent for wealthy nobles, profiting from political instability. He was laying the foundation for a global empire, hidden from the public eye. He trained his 5 sons in international finance, teaching them to prioritize family interests. Before his death, Meyer Amschel laid out strict rules to govern his dynasty. He was about to unleash his 5 sons upon Europe. Meyer Amschel's 5 sons were his greatest creation. They were the 5 arrows of the Rothschild family, a symbol they would adopt for their coat of arms. Each son was sent to a strategic financial center of Europe to establish a new branch of the family bank. Amschel Meyer stayed in Frankfurt, Salomon was sent to Vienna, Karl went to Naples, James to Paris, and Nathan Meyer to London. From these 5 hubs, the brothers built an unprecedented network of power. Using private couriers and secret agents, they could transmit financial and political intelligence faster than any king. This information was their ultimate weapon, allowing them to make vast fortunes. The brothers perfected the art of financing both sides of a conflict. War was simply the most profitable business of all. This web of cross-continental banking also allowed them to pioneer the international bond market, giving them immense leverage over nations. The five arrows had not just pierced the heart of Europe, they had captured it completely. The Battle of Waterloo in 1815 cemented the Rothschilds' status as masters of global finance. Nathan Rothschild's agents delivered news of Napoleon's defeat long before Wellington's official couriers. He saw an opportunity for profit, not patriotism. On the London Stock Exchange, Nathan began selling British government bonds with a somber expression. Panic spread and the market crashed as investors dumped their bonds. Nathan's agents quietly bought up everything, acquiring the entire market for next to nothing. When Wellington's victory was announced, bonds skyrocketed. Nathan multiplied his family's fortune and bought control of the British economy. The Rothschilds now owned England's debt, their grip on the world absolute. As the Rothschilds tightened their grip on Europe, their gaze shifted to America, a land of opportunity, but also a land to be controlled. They needed American faces to front their ambitions. Enter the Rockefellers, Morgans, and Astors. These dynasties weren't self-made, they were chosen, funded, and guided by European old money. Agents like August Belmont funneled Rothschild capital into American industries, shaping the nation's growth from the shadows. The American elite adopted ruthless tactics, monopolies, political manipulation, and control of key industries. The so-called Gilded Age was a coordinated takeover, not a golden era for all. The goal: keep America dependent, never truly sovereign, always under the thumb of international bankers. The American dream, a carefully managed illusion crafted to consolidate power at the very top. Rockefeller, synonymous with American power, but his rise was no accident. Backed by Rothschild-linked banks, Rockefeller built Standard Oil to dominate, not compete. He crushed rivals with secret deals and ruthless tactics, controlling over 90% of US oil refining. Standard Oil became the octopus, strangling opposition and buying political influence. Rockefeller's reach extended beyond oil. He reshaped education, medicine, and foreign policy through powerful foundations. The General Education Board molded obedient workers, not independent thinkers. The family's influence spread into medicine and global affairs, always serving their interests. What began as European-backed ambition became a shadow government, an invisible empire shaping America to this day. The Rockefeller blueprint: monopolize, influence, and engineer society. Their legacy: a system designed for control, not freedom. If Rockefeller ruled oil, Morgan ruled money. J.P. Morgan, with deep Rothschild ties, became America's unofficial central banker. He orchestrated financial panics like 1907 to push for a centralized banking system. The solution? The Federal Reserve, born from a secret meeting of banking elites on Jekyll Island. This private cartel gained the power to create money, lend to the government, and control the economy. Sold as a safeguard, the Fed was the final conquest, ensuring America's wealth flowed to a handful of families. The Federal Reserve Act, passed in secrecy, cemented their control. The alliance of Morgan, Rockefeller, and Rothschild had seized America's economic destiny. The result: a permanent mechanism for siphoning wealth and keeping the nation in debt. The trap was set, and the illusion of independence was complete. The real rulers were now invisible, but their grip was absolute. As Western bankers consolidated power, a new player emerged: the House of Saud. Once minor chieftains, the Sauds were elevated by a pact with the global elite, chosen to control the world's oil. Standard Oil's discovery in Saudi Arabia was no accident. It was a strategic move to secure energy dominance. The petrodollar system, formalized in the 1970s, forced the world to buy oil in US dollars, creating artificial demand for American currency. In exchange, the Sauds received wealth and military protection, but their power was always on loan. The dollar, no longer backed by gold, was now backed by oil, controlled by the Sauds, who answered to Western interests. OPEC, led by the Sauds, became a tool for manipulating global markets at the elite's command. The House of Saud gained riches, but remained puppets in a global control grid. Their kingdom, a gilded cage, their throne, secured by foreign masters. The desert branch of the invisible empire was firmly in place. European royals are not powerless relics, they are the hidden apex of the global elite. The British crown, with vast secret wealth and influence, never truly relinquished control. Through the City of London, they command global finance, operating as the silent popes of money. These ancient bloodlines intermarried, forming a pan-European aristocracy loyal to class, not country. They sit atop corporations, steer think tanks, and convene secret meetings like Bilderberg. Their influence is generational, their strategies centuries long. The crowns and pageantry are distractions. Real power is wielded from the shadows. They promote globalist agendas, dissolving sovereignty for a new feudal order. The fairy tale is a smokescreen. Behind it lies a cold, calculating, and enduring power. The old power of European royalty and the new power of Saudi oil are intertwined. They're part of a modern aristocracy, a global ruling class that transcends national borders. The House of Saud's petrodollars are funneled through the City of London, managed by firms with ties to the British establishment and European royals. Observe the diplomacy between Western monarchs and Saudi princes. This is family business. Their shared agenda is advanced through globalist institutions. The World Economic Forum in Davos is a prime example. Here, elites meet to coordinate their plans. They're pushing for a world without borders, for their own frictionless rule, using 21st century technology to achieve total control. The power is ancient, and the bloodlines remain the same. The architecture of control has evolved into a more subtle and complex form. The names Rockefeller and Rothschild might not be emblazoned on every bank, but their influence persists through new structures. These structures are dominated by two colossal entities, BlackRock and Vanguard. They are the modern face of ancient ambitions, representing a plan for a centralized global economy. BlackRock and Vanguard are asset management firms with staggering operations. Together, they manage assets worth trillions, exceeding the GDP of most nations. This gives them a controlling stake in virtually every major corporation, making them your landlord, employer, and news source. BlackRock's largest shareholder is Vanguard, which is owned by the funds it manages, creating a closed loop of ownership. This allows old money dynasties to exercise control invisibly, steering the global economy. They have more power than any government, directing capital flow and enforcing their agenda on corporations worldwide. They are the new kings of an invisible global empire. You see dozens of brands, flip between news channels, and believe you have a choice. This is the grandest illusion. Most brands and media are owned by a few mega corporations. The largest shareholder, BlackRock and Vanguard. The competition is a staged performance, hiding a corporate monopoly. Consider Coca-Cola and PepsiCo. BlackRock and Vanguard are top shareholders in both. The same for media. They own Comcast, Disney, and Warner Bros. Discovery. They profit from division, keeping the public fighting. This extends to every sector. They control pharma, banks, and tech. True competition is impossible. The effect is total control. They enforce a unified agenda. It's a centrally planned corporate economy. The illusion of choice keeps you compliant. The power of BlackRock and Vanguard is a tool, a mechanism to implement the final phase of the Bloodlines' centuries-old plan, the Great Reset. The Great Reset is the blueprint for a technocratic global dictatorship where humanity is managed by a self-appointed elite. BlackRock is at the heart of its implementation. Larry Fink is a board member for the World Economic Forum, the bridge between old money and the new corporate power structure. The Great Reset, powered by BlackRock and Vanguard, seeks to eliminate private property. Their mantra, "You will own nothing and you will be happy," is a threat. They usher in this new age of technocratic feudalism. This is the final act, the culmination of centuries of planning. BlackRock and Vanguard have emerged as the final mechanism of control, a corporate superstate that owns the world and can direct all of humanity. They are building a digital and financial prison. Will you see the bars before the door is locked for good? We have journeyed through the shadows of history, from the humble beginnings of Meyer Amschel Rothschild in the Frankfurt ghetto to the towering, anonymous skyscrapers of BlackRock and Vanguard. We have exposed a pattern, a consistent thread of ambition that weaves through the centuries. This is not a story of disconnected events or random accumulations of wealth. It is the story of a deliberate, multi-generational plan to enslave humanity within a meticulously constructed prison of financial and political control. A plan passed down through ancient bloodlines, executed by their chosen agents, and now reaching its final terrifying stage in our modern technological world. The names may change, but the agenda remains the same. We saw how the Rothschilds perfected the art of turning war and chaos into profit, seizing control of national economies by indebting governments. We saw how they dispatched their 5 sons as arrows, to capture the financial heart of Europe. This blueprint of conquest was then exported to America, where families like the Rockefellers and Morgans were cultivated to act as their lieutenants. They monopolized the essential industries of oil and finance, using their immense wealth to hijack education, medicine, and politics, all while building a shadow government that served their masters' interests, not the interests of the American people they pretended to champion. The web then expanded globally. We saw how the House of Saud was installed as puppet kings of a desert kingdom, their oil used to create the petrodollar system that shackled the world to the Federal Reserve's printing press. We uncovered the enduring power of the European royals, the black nobility who traded their overt crowns for covert influence, guiding the world from behind the curtain of secret societies and exclusive forums like the Bilderberg Group. These forces, old and new, blood and oil, merged to form a modern global aristocracy, united in their belief that they are the rightful rulers of our planet. And now, we see the culmination of their efforts. The power has been consolidated into the anonymous, soulless structures of BlackRock and Vanguard. These corporate behemoths represent the final evolution of control, a centralized entity that owns nearly everything, giving them the power to enforce a single globalist agenda on all of humanity. The Great Reset, promoted by their partners at the World Economic Forum, is not a conspiracy theory, it is their openly stated final act. A plan to dismantle national sovereignty, eliminate private property, and create a technocratic feudal system where you will own nothing and be controlled completely. The purpose of this journey is to empower you with knowledge, to show you the bars of the prison you may not have known you were in. The power of this elite rests on your ignorance. They rely on your belief in the manufactured reality they present through their media and political theater. But their greatest fear is a population that awakens and begins to question the official narrative. This is where the power shifts back to you. The first step is to question everything. Turn off the television that is designed to program your mind and start doing your own research. The next step is to reclaim your sovereignty. Reject the fear and division they promote. Reduce your dependence on the centralized systems they have built to control you. This is the peaceful revolution they cannot stop. It is the beginning of your part in it. The Great Awakening is happening all over the world. The choice is yours.